not see oil and as the years has been held for contempt, if they are, then let us go. But it's not coming away from Star Radio UK. As I said, it's a very, very special morning today, and we have the single honor of having my colleague, the Professor Mr. Live who has joined us from the North London studios. We're going to be cracking on with it. And let me say, Yomi, good.
Very good morning to you back in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Yes, how are you? How are you? How are you? And how's the family and everything?
Well, we're grateful as usual. The family are doing very well, and it's good to be back again on the morning show with you this morning. Good morning, Frank. Good morning to all the other co-presenter as we look forward to more programs. But for now, as you said, we're pressed with time, so there's quite a lot to discuss. But we'll try how we can manage those this morning. But once again, it is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And it's great to be back again this morning after the successful program late evening yesterday with Niger Voices.
Yes, interesting. For the sake, I mean, that's a protocol that we go through all the time. For the sake of those who missed the program, and a teaser for them, for the next time they listen, or they can go back to listen to it. What was discussed, I'm just in a nutshell, and then let's pick it up.
Well, Niger Voices comes up every Wednesday between 6 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. We're looking to the Nigerian, what is trending, most important, also discussion with the diaspora. We also have the indigenous people. But yesterday we were looking into whether, the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we go ahead, when it comes to the ultimatum, the action, the Niger crisis that is now becoming one of the biggest, and also to the West African leaders, where there was a summit in Abuja. We took time to go to United Nations, even though we were not there presently, but I took the listeners to the Q&A that took place between the representative of the United Nations in Ghana, where questions were asked, quite a number of questions pertaining to whether United Nations was going to be setting up a Security Council to prevent any other crime. All these were part of the discussion. We talked about, the young woman, and we also touched on the letter that was purported to have been written by Nnamdi Kanu to the Biafra to pull out from, the sit-at-home. We talked about whether, Bola Tinubu, the president, would do everything to bring a negotiation when it comes to the lift of the embargo of Dr. Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho. All that were contained in a fully packed 2.5 hours that can be watched again on the Starr Radio UK network.
Yes, listeners, that was what you missed out yesterday. If you didn't listen or watch the Niger Voices, it comes to you every Wednesday, 18 hours, with Mr. Lively and these lovely guests that we have. So, let's say good morning to you once again. All right, then, now, let's come to yesterday's the NLC demonstration. We saw it in various states, but now it looks like the president has intervened. That's what some stories are saying, and some are saying that the leader, the NLC leader, the president, has also been charged for contempt of court. So,
well, the NLC have actually responded, and I have that letter quickly. And this is how the response came back. We know that they had a meeting with the president yesterday, and the hope was that after that meeting, there will be a bit of what we can say the NLC has literally pulled the plug. I mean, we've been expecting such because we know that the NLC would have loved to go ahead, but we know also that the president does not want that to go ahead because it is not good for its government. So what we have been seeing in the last couple of days is that the NLC have literally now put out a letter stating that by the time the court process is going to come up, then many workers will also be attending this particular section of the court, according to the letter. You have spoken loudly, it resonated and resounded. We want to appreciate the massive solidarity and support of the Nigerian people who thronged the various venues around the country in their numbers, despite the intimidations, the blackmail by the agent of the government and the forces of retrogression to discourage them from joining the nationwide protest, which was called to validate citizens' outrage at the anti-poor, anti-people's policies of the government. Our hearts are dove at your determination and commitment to saving ourselves and indeed the nation from those whose only interest is to foist continuous deprivation and sufferings of Nigeria. I'm going to move swiftly down towards the end to further show our collective resolve. All Nigerians worker will resume at the court whenever there may be across the nation on the days of the court sittings to hear the contempt proceeding against the leaders of the trade union, the airport, the seaport, the hospital, the schools. All public and private sector workers will all appear in the court across the nation in response to the contempt charges. Once again, we look forward to the continued support of all Nigerians, workers around the country, as we continue in this struggle for freedom from the clutches of oppression and impoverishment. So it seems that the NLC and the TUC are preparing the minds of all the workers, and they will be appearing at the court. Yesterday, we saw the TOEFL where at the National Assembly, the senators flee after the gate was brought down. So it seems already that maybe that could be a sign of warning that the people's voice must be respected.
Well, as whether the leadership will listen to it or not, as whether the president will say, okay, let's reinstate the what do you call it, that was taken, the support for the fuel that was taken away, as whether that's going to happen or not, we're not very, very sure about it. But if we're talking about the rule of law, and the BSS has flouted the court's rules several times, why do they now say that the courts are saying that, you know what, the TUC or the MLC leader, we told them that there shouldn't be any demonstration and they've been passed on that, and therefore we are going to go after them. I mean, how do you compare that? No.
Well, I think what the government is trying to do is to make sure that they can use the courts to bring what we can say the same reasons that some of us have said that the judiciary is not working, but they are now trying to use the same judiciary to suppress the TUC and the NLC. And it seems that as I read in that letter, they are preparing their mind. They know that that is still going to go ahead. But what they are saying is that it is important that we inform Nigerians that we have just received a court summon purporting them to charges with a contempt of court. And they are already saying that if they're going to go ahead with the court proceeding, many workers will be attending as the same as they've come out with the protest yesterday. We saw the protest in the north. I mean, we thought that we would probably not see any of such, but we saw that people came out in Kano, which is one of the largest parts in the northern part of Nigeria, and also some other northern part of the country as well. So it seems that, the TUC and the NLC were able to pull the plugs, though the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, assured them, just as the former president always say, assure you, it seems that, the deal is that the Port Harcourt refinery will start production in December. Tinubu promises. These are very timeline. We know that these refineries have been there for a very long time. They've not been performing to full, performances. Whether these will happen or not, time will tell, because December is just around the corner. But what we can also say is that the NLC have now suspended the strike following the intervention by the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He tried to avert that on Monday with the State of the Nation address, but the citizens went ahead on Wednesday yesterday for the first day of the strike. But like you say, that has now been put again on hold, maybe for the next 3-4 months, to see whether the government would do more. The Nigerian Labour Congress has now confirmed the suspension of its planned strike following the intervention of President Bola Tinubu and the Senate. The resolution followed the National Executive Council meeting of the Congress. The National Treasury, Akim Ambali, a text message sent to our correspondent this morning, protests suspend due to the Senate intervention and the meeting with the president yesterday, which was probably late last night.
Listen, let's start ready. UK, Mr. Live container, not landing studios. I'm not today at the South for Nigeria. So we take it that the NLC and the GUC have accepted the intervention of the what do you call him, the president. However, my question is, if these leaders, the NLC and GUC leadership are supposed to go to court, and this case continues, and then the whole workforce decided to stay at home or go to the courts, it's going to be another grounding of Nigeria. Have you thought about that? Wouldn't just say
maybe there might be a change of heart because we know that it is the government that is pushing the court case. Maybe that might literally be something that the government will look into. But for now, we don't have a date of when that summon is going to happen. But they have already received the letter, and the letter is purported due to the fact that they had a court case in July. Even though we saw the senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, was on the ground as well. He has actually said that nothing of such can happen, even though the government responded back to him on Monday. But it seems that the 48 hours protest still went ahead as planned. But the next question is, would the court proceeding happen? And then it will lead to more workers heading to the court in line with their leadership of the TUC and the NLC.
Okay, let's start ready. Okay, 18 minutes past the top of the hour. Well, the Port Harcourt refinery saying that by December it should be running, and that's one of the things that the president put up to make sure that the workers are doing well. So do you think that refinery going to come to the full stream? On full stream, and then that will, cut all the prices that Nigerians are paying for fuel. Do you think that will drop it? Did you hear me?
Sorry, can you repeat that? I didn't catch that yet.
I was talking about the Port Harcourt refinery.
Yes.
I don't know whether it's one or two. I'm not sure about it, but it's coming out refinery. So I'm saying that if it comes upstream and they are working, does that mean that all the suffering that Nigerians are suffering?
Well, definitely we know that the refinery we have 4 of them. None of those refineries are working to full capacity, for a very long time. But the former president, gave guarantee that those refineries will be up and running, but they probably left it abandoned due to the fact that Dangote was pushing his own refinery. We thought Dangote refinery was already up and running when there was an inauguration of such, but now we know that that is not coming onto the stream till 2025. So the question then is, what will be different that these refinery from Port Harcourt to Warri, the other ones in Kaduna, these have not worked for a while, but President Tinubu gave his commitment, and that is a strong word to the labor leaders, that the Port Harcourt refineries will start production by December 2023 after the completion of the ongoing rehabilitation contract between the NMPCL and an Italian firm, Maria Tessimont SPA. President Tinubu assured the labor leaders that he will continue to work for the best interest. The question you've asked is whether that will leverage, the poverty in the land. It is not just about the fuel. We're talking about many Nigerians that doesn't need the fuel for whatever reason, but they need the welfare to be taken care of. So all this is still something we don't know what is going to be the outcome, but we know that the president gave assurance as well, with the palliative that was meant to be coming up as well, 500 billion, 200 million grains to be distributed to families, but they haven't come back with a review of the 8,000 to be given to 12 million Nigerians out of the 130 million Nigerians that are living in abject poverty. The question then is, what about the workers in terms of increment in the wages? Most workers are complaining that the wages presently is not enough to get them to work because they are spending everything on transportation.
Of course, if you are spending about majority of your income on transportation, where are you going? Huh. Well, thanks for clarity, Anthony. Good morning to you as well. You're all doing very, very well. Now let's come to the substantive issue that's going on in West Africa, where we have President Tinubu being the chairman of the Ecowas. Okay, and he managed to gather his people there. Adelaide, good morning to you as well. Now, interestingly, my question is, are they going to now put soldiers together, the ECOWAS force, they call them the ECOMOG, to go to Niger? Are they going to do that?
There was a leak information that came out yesterday through the investigative journalist David Odonye. I picked that up from his Twitter. Very, very sensitive information that stated now that the Nigerian government is now preparing for the war. We now have soldiers moving closer to Sokoto State, according to the information in that particular memo that was a military information. Impending deployment on Niger Republic to Sokoto, Nigerian Air Force, Nigerian Navy, Nigerian Army with definite gadget operation waiting for notice in short time. Many Nigerians have seen this particular information is now circulating. Many space conversation is going on. So many concerned Nigerians around the world are now asking whether it is the right thing to do. Videos are being prepared by different individuals. I saw one yesterday asking Bola Sheyi Tinubu to call his father into a situation. This is not a Lagos state. We are now talking about, should you attack Niger, then there will be an attack in Nigeria. There's no doubt about that. Yes, I've been looking at the the might. Nigeria has the might when it comes to the military formation. We have close to about 500,000 military. We have the the materials, the equipment. But when we look at the situation, the question is, who actually is backing Niger Republic? We know that the Mali, the Burkina Faso have said they're going to be backing them. But the U.S. National Security Advisor has now met with Bola Tinubu over the regional stability, as the news is coming out this morning. Mr. Finland met with President Tinubu and other senior Nigerian officials to discuss the regional security issues, including some of the recent development. While listening to the United Nations representative in Accra yesterday, some of the question put across by the journalist is, would they do everything to avert, the United Nations? But it seems that the United Nations is leaving these to ECOWAS to determine.
Well, it's going to be an interesting time. We'll see what happens from that front. Because I think that let's take it now, what is happening in Nigeria, and everybody is suffering, and the demonstration that took place yesterday, and the president, let's take that, put it that way, they didn't react to whatever, and think that, well, you can just go on tighten your belt. But the people think they cannot take it any longer, and then there's a coup d'etat, and then you come out and say that, well, you're going to be attacking them. We have to, those leaders, they need to talk to themselves and say that you are there to serve the people, not to serve yourself and your family. No, and not to serve your pockets. So if they're serving the people, then there will be no need for them to be scared of the fact that, yes, there could be unrest in your area. Who wants to say that if you have everything in your house, everything is going on very well? Why do you cause trouble? You're okay, you are happy.
Well, you're quite right. The question on the lips is that should this not go ahead, maybe there could still be negotiation, but I don't know whether negotiation will solve this. We are now a few more days. 1 week was given. Some of the question was, should negotiation continue? Headline that I've picked up again coming out this morning. It seems that there is still power supply cut already. That was not mentioned Sunday, but we know that Nigeria supply Benin Republic and Niger and some other Africans when it comes to electricity, even though its own citizens do not have a full 24 hours electricity. Nigeria have now cut the power supply. ECOWAS promised to confront the junta. That is also one of the headlines. The power supply from Nigeria to the Republic of Niger was stopped yesterday as the sanction against the neighboring countries. Some of the other concern is we have about 300,000 Nigerians that are living in Niger. Most are living in the what we can call the camp. And the question is, could the Niger government use these as part of their tools should an attack occur? Again, a lot of Nigerians expecting that there will be peace that can be resolved to some of these issues. Let's take a look at what African Confidential at Bumi says, Bumi_speaks, wrote just about some few hours ago on Twitter. While smaller African nations are rising up to grab freedom and kick out the imperialism and its agent occupying the seat of power, their big sister Nigerians are too stimulus to even lift a finger. A population of over 200 million educated cowards who believe their freedom and justice will come from the same rigged electoral process that fuel the oppressive system, killing them and making their lives a living hell. I went back this morning, at about 5 o'clock when I woke up, and I was watching a documentary about Thomas Sankara. And the title of that documentary was the documentary that I watched. I'm just trying to put out, if I can get that back. Thomas Sankara, which is got to do with uplift. Yes, Thomas Sankara, the upright man. Looking at many Africans that are saying that the neo-colonialism that is still going on must be stopped. But can this be done without a coup is a question. We know that Thomas Sankara, was killed, but it seems already now that maybe more Nigerians are worried that if Nigeria takes the head, as there's a push now, you can see that the U.S. National Security met with the president yesterday. The White House statement and release, according to what we know, Principal Deputy National Security Advisor John Feinert has traveled to Gabon and Nigeria. The trip underscored the Biden administration commitment to strengthening the bilateral relationship. I went back to look at, what is the interest with the U.S. The U.S. has a military drone that was built in 2019. That cost about 110 million US dollars. As we speak right now, the junta, the coup has now stopped any travel through the air, and that literally means that the drone facility is no longer in operation as we speak right now. So there's a lot of concern. Also, Niger is the route to Africa, to Europe rather. We know many Nigerians, many Africans through that route, which has been a partnership between the former president that has been ousted, President Bazoum, to stop Africans from traveling through Niger into Libya and finally getting themselves into Europe. All these now is a concern to the Europeans, the Americans, and as you can see, most of those Europeans are now lifting their citizens. We know that half of those from France have left, while the remaining half says they want to stay behind.
Well, listen, that's interesting. The natural resources of Niger include uranium, coal, gold, iron, ore, tin, phosphate, petroleum, molybdenum, salt, and gypsum. Now, the uranium is one thing that they really need, and therefore they think that, well, if they are driving us away, and that means that another country or another group of people will take it. You see, now if they didn't have anything of the sort, we wouldn't have seen anything of that sort happen. But the moment they, I don't know, but I don't like that there will be a displacement of government. But again, if those that we've elected are not doing what they're supposed to do, what is their essence? And they're sleeping with the enemy, let me put it that way. Colonial masters, they're siphoning and they're taking everything, raping our resources, and end up what? So I think if their leaders in that sub-region are listening and seeing what is happening in Niger, they need to now sit down and make sure they are serving their people. Listen, I Starr Radio UK. Don't worry, I'm too passionate about this, but I don't like the way our leaders treat our people at all. It is Starr Radio UK. We're so live again on North London Studios. I'm actually here in the South Studios, and we'll go back to Yomi for the rest of the story. Over to you, Yomi.
Well, let's go back. APC, the Labour Party, will lose Claire Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi election. Remember that election is still coming up. Election is not yet concluded. The reason for that is most of those states have had issues in the past, and it doesn't line with the other elections that happens in Nigeria. So this is coming as the Labour Party, the APC, says that they will be clearing out the Kogi and the Bayelsa, and likewise the PDP as well. Lawmakers fled as protesters swarmed the National Assembly over Tinubu subsidy. The gate of the National Assembly was removed. It seems that the lawmakers were not taking any chances. Tinubu is asking, the West, especially the United Kingdom, to pipe the gas from Nigeria to Europe. Most Nigerians have always been concerned when it comes to, the resources. It's all about the resources. And while I was looking at, while some of those that are agitating are saying that maybe by the time we have a better policy and a better relationship with UK, we can have a better deal. Just as I picked up again this morning while I was doing my round at the early hours, we also say very happy birthday to Yoruba Wuyi, one of the self-determination media campaigner in US. Happy birthday to her from the Starr Radio UK. Let's go back again and talk about the last bit before I move to the social media to see what is trending this particular morning. Once again, I will be giving some of the quotes that I picked up from Thomas Sankara. We know that the UK, the UK government, from what we picked up this morning, there's a trade between the Gulf and the United Kingdom is already at the fourth round negotiation for free trade agreement between the United Kingdom and the Gulf. This is going to cost about close to 61 billion pounds. And these are questions that, Nigeria seems not to be getting the fair share of the deal when it comes to arrangement between the government and the West. So let's hope that, these UK to pipe the gas from Nigeria to Europe and to help tackle insecurity. President Tinubu has now charged the Foreign Secretary on the imperatives of the West and the UK, in particular in mobilizing investment to pipe the gas from Nigeria to Europe. According to the information, President Tinubu made a call yesterday when he received the United Nations Secretary of Foreign and Commonwealth Development Affairs, Honorable James Clevey, Member of Parliament, in his office, calling on the UK to commit more to win-win development partnership for Nigeria and Africa. The Nigerian leader recalled the history of decades of deep symbolic connection and economic ties between the continent and the UK, adding that the UK government must work with Nigeria and the rest of Africa to create a competitive, technologically advanced economy that will cater for all the needs of the citizens. Well, some of those that would disagree with such would be the Biafra and the Yorubas that have said that that is not working. And the reason it's not working is because it seems that only a particular part is marginalizing the other. And when you are going to make such a kind of a negotiation, it seems that the Yorubas are not gaining much out of it as well. So that is the reason why some of us are saying the unity of Nigeria must be relooked into, just as the British made that mistake on the 1st of January 1914, when the Northern Protectorate that was actually on a deficit and the empire as at the time was not ready to fund it. Then what happened? The Southern Protectorate and the Lagos colony was merged together to create what we are now calling Nigeria today. After 64 years, the President Bola Tinubu is now saying there must be a good relationship. The Foreign Secretary further said he was in Nigeria to promote bilateral and economic partnership. The question is, how come Nnamdi Kanu is still held in the captivity of the DSS and these are not being discussed? It seems that it is more about the trade as against the human right of a British citizen that has been kidnapped, rendition to Nigeria, and it seems the Foreign Secretary will probably maybe be having the discussion, but this was not released in the communique by Anjuri Ngeled, the special advisor to the president on media and publicity. So the case of Nnamdi Kanu seems not to be the priority. It's more about the gas to the West. That is the priority. We take one more from the news and then head straight to the social media again. Federal government have now delisted 18 illegal loan apps. Many Nigerians will end up Remember that when there's crisis, when there's poverty, we have them here in UK until the UK government stamped on them. They call them the shark loans, where their APR is much more. And it seems that the federal government have now asked Google to remove some of these loan apps from the Play Store. Also, do you know that some Nigerians are using the police number to obtain the loan? I don't know how that is working, but the police actually released a statement that no one should be using the emergency number to apply for a loan in Nigeria. It shows how the system has failed. You talked about the young woman, the doctor that died. The reason why she died was again part of the corruption, the negligence in Nigeria. The lift has been in a complaint stage since 2018. And when you calculate the timeline, the question is somebody was used as a sacrifice. Let's now hope the same lift will be repaired for the medical doctors that are working as internship in that particular hospital. We pray for the soul as well. We pray for the family that spent millions of naira in a private university to send her to a medical school, as against the university from the federal and the public that has never worked in full capacity. Again, these are some of those reasons why people are asking, what is the essence when you go and study and you end up being killed by the same system? We pray once again. Let's now go straight, as we've been following again. Biden calls for immediate release of the Niger President Mohammed Bazoum. If that doesn't happen, is Biden going to use Nigeria to push for the war, or are we going to see the extra support to Nigeria from the Biden administration? We'll monitor that and we'll be updating that as well. From now, we go straight to the social media and see what is trending on the 3rd of August 2023 at exactly 36 minutes past 11 a.m. It seems that David Odonye is trending. Abike Dabiri is trending. We know Abike Dabiri is got to do with the with the international and the diaspora outside. That's the role she's been given. Let's see, Showore is trending as well. So let's see why Showore is trending this morning. We know Showore is our own. And again, Showore also joins the NLC protest in Lagos. I believe that is why it's trending. Showore has been saying that the only way option is you will just have to do revolution. You commit most violence during protests, turn around to blame peaceful citizens. Showore Omoyele tackles the Nigerian police in the headline, and I believe we see if we can get one of his image, as we always say. People call him show boy. He's always there. Whether you're a Biafra, Showore is there. Whether you are Yoruba, Showore is there. He's always there for every Nigerian. But it seems that Nigerians are not there for him, because most time Showore never have the numbers of votes that will give him the access to the power in Aso Rock. Maybe the weight of the other political party is the reason for such, but we hope one day Showore will be what he's planning to be. But for now, Showore is not given the opportunity from the perspective of someone that wants to be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So that's the reason why Showore is trending. He also was in Lagos State to join the NLC. And now let's go back and see David Odonye. There's been a lot of people asking whether David have done the right thing by releasing these information, and that will compromise the Nigerian security. He has been responding back, and part of what he said was, our worst fears seems like they are coming true. The Bola Tinubu intend to attack Niger Republic, and the Nigerian military is currently being mobilized to Sokoto in the northwest to launch an air offense of Niger, with a document on his timeline, which is now in circulation. Some of the response is, irrespective of our thought on Tinubu, if this is genuine, it is a military opt order and should not be shared online. Well, your input is duly noted, according to David Odonye. Another one says, no, David, there's too much detail in this doc. I believe there should be a better way to disclose things like this. This could endanger the lives of the serviceman. His response was, there will be a greater danger if an illegitimate president sent them to commit act of war against a non-aggressive sovereign country. That's how far I can go. I'll come back again to you in the studio. There's quite a lot. I don't know why somebody has put Tupac Shakur didn't lie into the same comment section.
Well, listeners, it's interesting. interesting. As I said, I apologize for the issue that we had, and which will have to force us to bring the discussion to our content, but just bear with us. But only pertaining to this marshalling of military or the spirit to call it invade Niger. Now, if we have got all the power and all that technology and all this, why are we not keeping Nigeria safe for people to be able to go about their duties, go to the farm, to go and farm, and do everything the way? But we see all these things going on. But when it comes to someone's country, we want to rush in there to go and do what?
Well, some are saying that maybe the president is scared that maybe he might be the next one when a coup d'etat is going to happen. Remember that he actually Showore said it in a memo that was released, I believe, some few weeks after the service chiefs were all dismissed. They were given a bulletproof card. They were given a good service package so that maybe they don't end up coming back and overthrown his government. So it seems that what some are saying is that Tinubu is doing this to stamp on any kind of coup in Nigeria, and he wants to show his fist by saying that coup will not be tolerated. And the question is, why was he giving the chairman of Ecowas was all this plan? I remember going back to what was said by the U.S. committee in March 23rd when General Dombozo overthrown the government as well. These were part of people that were trained by the Americans in Africa, and the question around such then was these are core values, and the question by the rep members then was are these core value part of what the U.S. are this part of the core value according to the General Michael E. Langley over the training of African soldiers. He went continuously to say core value is what we teach them, but we do not teach them to overthrow government. Michael Elliott Langley is a United States Marine Corps general who has served as the commander of the United States Africa Command since August 2019. On March 23rd, he had a conversation that led to where questions were asked about some of those that have been trained with picture of them with the Americans on the ground in Africa end up also committing a coup to overthrow the legitimate government. So the question is, 4 months after that, we've seen another coup in Africa. The question, I hope, is not the core value that is already taking place in the Republic of Niger.
It might be the core value, but the issue is, why didn't they say because we attacked Burkina Faso when they had their coup? Why didn't they do the same to Guinea? Why didn't they do the same to the other what do you call them, Mali, when they also came to their coup? Well, this one listener says Nigerian military deployed Sokoto against Niger Republic. I am speechless. I bet you lots of us are speechless there. And Aziz, it says good morning. I will salute you, Aziz. And I didn't update to bring. Thank you very much. Each and every one of you are tuned in this morning. I promise you one thing for sure. Tomorrow, we're having a very nice program. But Yomi, before you go.
Well, we'll leave you again, with Archie, as there's more other programs coming up. The Property Hours is coming up later in the evening. But for now, I'll be back again tomorrow for more program. It is Starr Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. I say very good morning. Bye for now.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, listen, that has been so live before you keep bringing updates from Nigeria.